Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial we're going to be learning how to cut and sew a built up neckline. If this is your first time here, kindly subscribe and turn on the notification button. Alright, let's get right to it. So this is the material I would be needing for this tutorial. So I'd already gone ahead to draft out my pattern. I already drew out my chest line, my bust line of 10 inches, my under bust of 13.5 inches, and then my waistline of 16.5 inches. So already I dropped off 2 inches before taking my neckline there. Okay, I also went ahead to mark out my neckline. So here I marked out my neck width of 3 inches. Okay, so I marked it right there just as you're seeing me do. Okay, and then the next thing I did was to go up that space that we left before the shoulder line by 1.5 inches. Now we want to get the built up neckline, and that is what I'm trying to draft out right now. So I connected it with a row, and then I'm going to be creating a curve here. Okay, with the aid of my curve, right, I was able to get that curve there. Remember, I went up by 1.5 inches. Okay, now I'll be using 7 inches for my neck depth, and then with the aid of the curve again, I connected it from that 1.5 to my neckline. So now I'll be drafting out my princess start. Okay, I took my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is 3.5 inches, and then at the under bust I'll be using 2 inches. Okay, at the inner part I came out by half an inch. Okay, just as you see me do here, right? And then I connected it with a straight line, and then at the outer part of my under bust I came out by 1.5. I told you I'll be using 2 inches, and I did same at the down part soon. So now if you have if you're more bustier, you can use 2.5. Okay, so I went ahead to use my cuff to connect from the under bust to my bust line at both sides now. So I went out a little by half an inch. Okay, half an inch, just as you're seeing me do. And then I went ahead at the midpoint of my armhole. I connected a curve from that. Okay, while taking the measurement of your armhole, you have a midpoint, right? So I just connected it now. Now I'm going to take that out from the armhole as well. I'll be going out by half inch on both sides, just as you see me do. Half an inch. Okay, and then I'll be connecting it down to my bust rather. Okay, this is not hard in any way. Okay, just watch carefully what I'm doing. So we're going to be replacing this that we took so that our armhole doesn't become short. So I went out by 1 inch. Just watch what I'm doing carefully. Okay, and then I extended that line. Okay, I extended that line there, and then another 1 inch on my chest line. Okay, and then use the curve to recreate another armhole. Okay, so I use the curve to recreate another armhole. That is going to be our original armhole now. So I just went ahead to use the marker to mark out the parts we'll be cutting out. Okay, just watch carefully. I believe this is very easy, right? So the next thing I did was to go ahead to take my bust measurement. Okay, I marked out my bust measurement, right? And then at the waistline I also went ahead to mark out my waist measurement. Now my waist is 7 inches, right? So we'll have to also replace that 2 inches. So after marking my original waist by 7 inches, I also went ahead to add that 2 inch that we used there, right? I marked it out so that I could get my exact waist measurement. Now I'm saying 7 inches because my waist divided by 4, my original waist, my waist circumference divided by 4 would give me 7 inches. So I went out to trim out the part we'll be using, and this is what we have. So now drafting out the back pattern, I already went out to draft out the shoulder slope, the bust line and all. So all we need to now is take our bust measurement and our waist measurement, and also at the shoulder line where we would be marking out the built up neck. Okay, I also went out by 1.5 inches, just same as I did at the front. Okay, and I also marked 1.5 inches at the zipper allowance line, and then I connected it with a straight line right there, and also at this other side I connected it with a straight line. I believe this is pretty easy, right? Okay, I made a mistake here. I did not mark out the neckline where I was supposed to do, so I had to redo it for accuracy's sake. Okay, so I had another line for the built up neckline. Okay, so yeah, that's the new line I would be using right there. So I connected it with a straight line. This upper part of the built up neckline should be a little bit curvy, not so straight, and then at this part I also curved it just like I did in the front part. So the next thing I went ahead to do was to take my waist measurement, and I already did my bust measurement, and then cut out this piece. Okay, so I brought back the front neckline to show that it's equal, and it will match very well. As you can see, we had a perfect result. So now I can cut out the back piece, right? So this is me cutting it out, right? Make sure you cut out the right part, the part you ought to cut out, right? So at the end of the day, this is what we will be having. So this is what we have for the back piece, our back pattern. So now I've already gone ahead to cut out my fabric, my lining, my hairstay, breast pad and all of that, and then I went ahead to trim out the excesses. So this is what we have. This is pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. With the help of the iron, you'll be able to iron your hairstay to your fabric. So I went ahead to join the lining piece separately and the Ankara piece separately, just as you're seeing. Okay, so this is the Ankara and that is the lining. Now I would be joining the Ankara and the lining now, and at the end of the day, this is what we have. Okay, now I want to join the shoulder. Just watch what I'm doing carefully. That is the front piece and the back piece facing each other, right? So now just watch carefully what I'll be doing. I'll be taking one part of the lining which of the back piece. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't video this properly, but I believe you understand what I'm doing here. I'm trying to join the shoulder. I'm so sorry that this didn't come out so well, but look carefully. Okay, so Ankara to Ankara and lining to lining. Okay, Ankara to Ankara, lining to lining. This is the shoulder piece that we want to join rather. Okay, so I believe you can see this clearly now. So I've done that. I've joined the shoulder neckline, and this is what we have. Now you have your built up neckline. I believe this is very simple. Please, if this is your first time here, kindly hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.